Let me start by saying that the purpose of this video is not to promote or demean any particular religious belief. It's just an interesting little thought experiment I came up with recently that I believe has some capacity to be used to teach a lesson. Now, we all know a theoretical God has several traits, but for this example, the two that are most important to consider are 1, it should be a perfect being, and 2, it should be omnipotent. Let's assume that you accept these traits as you ascend into godhood and become the most powerful being in all creation. Well, now you have a few options as to what you can do to make things better. Option 1. You can use this power to make things better for an individual or group of your choosing. This seems like the best option since, with the snap of a finger, you can make homelessness and poverty a thing of the past. However, as with all things, there are consequences to this. Assuming you have left out at least one person, you have effectively made life worse for that individual relative to the subset of the population that you chose to bless. The ripple caused by your intervention will immediately cause a divide in the population, as the people left out will no doubt feel a tinge of envy that they received nothing. There is also that pesky human curiosity that will cause them to create new problems. If it is homelessness today, it may be lack of entertainment tomorrow. Option 2. You can choose to elevate everyone. In this scenario, you decide to bless everyone equally. Of course, you could follow the Marxist path and give according to each man's needs, but we already know how that will turn out, so I'm not even going to bother addressing the negatives of that perspective. Going back to the equal blessings all around, you must still remember that one key thing about human existence, and that is that all of our judgments are based on a relative standard. You cannot have the rich without the poor. They are two sides of the same coin. In this way, you are effectively doing nothing, since relative to each other, nothing has changed between individuals. The poor are still poor. They are just poor with, say, $1,000 instead of $10. Again, human curiosity causes them to create new problems regardless. So unless you elevate them to the point where there are no problems, essentially giving them godhood like yourself, they will continue to suffer, and thus you haven't really done a perfect job of helping them, have you? So, what is there left to do now? A perfect God should cause no harm. You could remove their curiosity, but then they no longer have free will and cannot be held accountable for any actions, since you had some part in influencing their decisions. In the end, you will realize that the only way to help them while maintaining their free will would be to abstain from interfering. You cannot change anything, not because you do not want to, or are lacking the ability, but because you understand that it would not fit who you are. Now, there is a reason I chose this long and probably overdrawn thought experiment. Sometimes you will see someone struggling and wish to help them. In this case, you are God. However, you fail to realize that helping them will ultimately cause more harm than good, because you are giving them positive feedback for being in a detrimental situation. Anything that is given positive reinforcement becomes more likely to be repeated in the future, so they will be perpetually helpless. Remember that nagging human curiosity? It will drive them to test the boundaries of your benevolence until you have nothing left to give. In the same way that if you were God, you could only satisfy them by giving them godhood as well. If you truly want to help someone, oftentimes the best thing to do is let them fall before you pick them up. You must let them experience the negative feedback of their situation, then allow them to begin lifting themselves up before they are able to be saved. The reason people are like this is because humans are creatures of habit. Trying to change a habit often requires a substantial amount of energy. They can only muster that energy when their life is in danger, not necessarily in a literal sense, and they have no option but to change or die. I want to clarify that I don't mean to say that you should literally watch someone dying and not do anything to help. However, if it isn't that severe, then let them experience their fall and they will rise a better person. This can be difficult sometimes, especially if it's someone that you deeply care about. But in some cases, the largest fruit is found at the top of the tree. That's about all I have to say for now. If you have any experience with this, or let's say you had someone learn from their mistakes before you helped them, or something close to that, then feel free to let me know down below. Other than that, have a nice day and stay prosperous.